Oh, because I know she responded.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Advocacy. We are so excited to have Miss Jana Plummer with us. But before we even introduce her, we're going to we thank Crystal for joining us. Haven't seen her in a while. Crystal has been around the world, but she's back with us, and we have Miss Bunny with us. So, with that being said, we want to jump right in and we want to introduce Jana Plummer. Jana is a special ed teacher. So, I'm not going to tell you all her story. I'm going to let her tell you her story, but we are so excited. We're sitting on pins and needles. Been waiting all week for this conversation. So, with that being said, Jana, we're going to turn it over to you. Give us an introduction about you. Tell us what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I am, as Paula mentioned, a special ed teacher, and I teach self contained SLS, which stands for Specific Learning Support, um, third, fourth, and fifth graders. I currently have 9 students in my classroom, and I teach all subjects except for science. So um, it's a very exciting journey that I'm taking. I have actually been teaching self contained for 3 years, but I have had students with IEPs and disabilities for years in my classroom setting. I have always loved to teach, and I think I was drawn more to special ed when I was approached about 4 years ago if I would be willing to take a self contained class and teach those students. And I just fell in love with my students. I have the opportunity to actually have them for 3 straight years. So if they come in third grade, I keep them until they graduate out. So it's great to see them grow and to be able to develop their skills and to move forward. Some have aged out of being in self contained and went into the general education setting. So I'm proud to say that, I had some impact with them to do that. And it's always, a great improvement to see with that. So that's the gist of what I do and where I am working currently. I know this platform is to kind of ensure parents and educators that the connection and partnership with students with IEPs is not as tedious as some may make it out to seem. If you love what you do, then it can be an easy journey to, adapt to. There are sometimes, you struggle with trying to meet paperwork and deadlines, but overall, the excitement of being able to see, like I said, the students grow and develop is always what it's about. So if you have any specific questions, when it comes to um, what is expected or how does it look with a parent and um, a teacher with who teaches with IEPs, students with IEPs, I would say that overall, most of the time, I think teachers get overworked because the IEP has its own just to it. So if a student, has certain goals that they have to reach, the teacher themselves do not have to work alone. There is a team that helps with making sure that the student is able to achieve those goals. So it's just working together and mainly with the parents because whatever we instill at school, we want them to take it home with them and be able to continue it, the learning as well. But I know that sometimes that's difficult because their attention spans are not as vague and wide as those that are in general education. So you have to kind of approach it at a different angle so that the students are able to retain what is being taught. So I try to make it a little fun and exciting in my classroom. My students do enjoy coming to school. I've been hearing that a lot from our parents that before they didn't like school and now they can't wait to get to my class. And I try to be, a fun teacher, but it's structured, and it shows that the students are engaging and that they are wanting to learn. Not just that they are separated from the general education class, because my program actually is a mirror of gen ed. We just take it a little slower. So it's not that we kind of, do lesson after lesson. If my students aren't able to grasp one content, I take time to make sure that they are able to understand it before I move on. So my program is still that of gen ed, and even the setting itself. The students in our school do not view my class as those that are in a self-contained. It's just, they speak to them, they play with them, they have lunch with them. So they are included in every aspect that it is there at the school.
Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to applaud you because I
Thanks.
love the fact that you ran. I mean, when you were asked, you didn't run from the challenge because I don't.
Hmm.
And again, when we're talking about this whole conversation, this whole hour, I'm envisioning Morgan. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm envisioning Morgan. So when I say I commend you for running, not running away from it, I do. We need more teachers like you. And because I know the type of person that you are, I would
Hmm.
probably like come into your class. I'm not even gonna lie. And I would love as a parent to
Right.
work with you because you're so optimistic and
Hmm.
you do think out of the box. So I think definitely most parents would love working with you, and the students will love you as well.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I wanted to ask was on a regular basis, how many kids do you have in your class? Is there a certain number of kids in your class? And then um as far as the the different types of disabilities, because I know in Morgan's class you have some that's nonverbal, some verbal, some that are highly functioning, some that are not
Hmm.
highly functioning. How do you, and I'm sorry, this is a two-part question.
That's fine.
How do you handle or set up your curriculum
Hmm.
to address all of the various disabilities?
Very good question. The first question you asked is how many students do I have? And I actually have them. So self-contained means I have the students all day. They're with me from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, and that is 9 students. And the way that I kind of do my lesson plans predicated upon their disabilities, because I still teach grade level content. We have a 20-minute rotation of circle of center time in our class. So during my guided practice is when I am introducing grade level content. So I have third graders who come at a 20-minute. I had to break up my fourth graders. So it's 2 different groups that come at 20 minutes. And then my fifth grade comes at a 20 minutes. But during those rotations, in order to meet their IEPs and their specific disabilities, we have a IEP goals center, and that's with my paraprofessional, Mr. Scott, who's been awesome. He works with me and he actually helps me with guiding the students to make sure that they are reaching their IEP goals. We do a data tracking to where I'm able to put that in their binders and communicate that with their families, so that they can see the progress of how well they're doing. The disabilities range in my classroom. So I have cognitive, I have ID, which is intellectual disability, and I have the specific learning. So that could be either the reading, the math, comprehension. So it's kind of all together. And I don't break up my lessons to where it's one meeting and one need. It's all meeting the same need. So I kind of do a lot of research. My lesson plans are very in depth to where I try to make sure that each student is able to retain or to understand what is being taught from each lesson. So it does take some time to do the lesson plan. I cannot do that all in one setting, for the small time that they give us at work. So sometimes I bring it home and have to, do my lesson plans in the evening. But that's just to be prepared so that I am able to execute some rigorous learning in the classroom.
That is
Oh wow, I
amazing.
love it.
Go ahead, Crystal.
Well, I was thinking of the we're talking about like bridging the gaps between
Hmm.
special education teachers and parents, and we know that
Hmm.
sometimes that could look you know, sometimes it can be contentious, and and sometimes, a lot of times, it can definitely be agreeable. And so I was just wondering, like, what is the most effective way that you communicate with the parents about the students?
So one, we always have what we call in the beginning of the year a home visit. And that can be anything to going to the student's home or to meeting them at a remote place, like a Starbucks or something like that. So each year I try to do something different. This school year at the beginning, I invited all my families to And Pizza. I paid for everyone there. We all got to meet each other, the families. The students already knew each other, but the parents got to kind of, collaborate and talk. And I introduced, myself and was able to, answer some questions that they may have. So building up that rapport in the beginning is always, an important factor. And then going forward, I am one that communicates with my parents literally every day. So if a student is doing well, I send a text. If a student isn't doing well, I send a text, sometimes a phone call. But my parents are aware of what happened. So it's kind of ironic because when parent teacher conference comes, it's like we already talked. So there's nothing really to, dive into because I just talked to you yesterday and you told me, how they scored well on their, diagnostic or their exit ticket. So my communication with families is literally an ongoing. I try not to do it to where it is just at certain points. I don't like for, the lag to be there. I spoke to a parent today actually and said, I was trying to reach you. I've been trying to reach you for several days now and I couldn't reach you. So we had to call someone else, for her to call me. And I told her I'm very, secure when it comes to wanting to speak to the parent because I need for you to know where your child is because I want to work with you. I want to support you. I want to, help your child to be successful. So I think that bridging that gap it has to be something that you are intentionally wanting to do and not really being forced to do it because it's your job. If you really do have the best interests of your students, then you will go the extra mile to reach out and communicate. It's like I say, it's not easy for parents who have students with IEPs or disability because they are seeing the same thing we're seeing at home, if not worse. When it comes to behaviors or cognitive and following directions, and then it does put a lot of pressure on parents because internally they probably are thinking I'm not sure why my child is like this, why it happened to me, things like that. And I just want to encourage parents that it's you for a reason. And not only that, your child is really no different than the other. So when it comes to, education wise and learning, they are still given the same, platform to be able to be successful as well. And there is a lot of resources and support for students if parents, are willing to listen. But even for educators, if we are willing to apply it, to ourselves and then give it to the families as well.
This is amazing, Jana. I mean, if we could just clone you to have many of you,
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
everything that you're doing is just amazing. But I do want to ask the question. I hear you talk about a self-contained classroom. Is that another term for special ed classroom?
Self-contained, yes. So there are different um, labels for the programs. So there are programs now. I know when we were coming up, I even have spoken with someone who was working when I graduated from Phelps High School, and I remember the special ed students being separate totally, like they were down in the basement. I would probably see them maybe at dismissal or maybe games or even assemblies, but I rarely saw them. And then when I saw them, the interaction wasn't really comfortable as, one of their peers because we didn't see them all the time. So self-contained now in the school system is kind of prevalent. It's open to where you see the students, they're interacting, they're just in a different program. So to me, how I see it is if students are going to specials. So if you go to music, of course, everybody goes to music. If you go to the library, if you go to PE, but in the self-contained, it's like another label for the program. So it's not something that is, that's looked down upon. It's not, a negative connotation. It's more of, okay, well, this is, best for you and learning. And then, for the gen ed, they see it as the same. I get the gen ed students come to me all the time and say, Ms. Plummer, I want to be in your class. They have no idea what I do in my class. They just want to come to my class. So again, the students and the, children, they aren't aware of what the separation is, which is great. And I love it that it's, gotten to this point now. But my program is SLS, which is specific learning. We have BES, which is behavioral education support. We have ILS, which is intellectual learning support. And we have CES, which is communication education support. So there are different classifications for students to be, once they leave K through 2, self-contained special ed, that they would be tested to see which program that they can actually go to for 3 through 5. And the best way to gauge that is with the team to see if they are able to comprehend what is being taught. That would be my class. So the intellectual one is more of not being able to stay on task with the grade level content, but still being able to have some fundamentals of education and being able to keep going, forth in life.
Okay. Now, is this similar to like a charter school?
No, it's public school.
Public school? Oh, wow. You DC or Maryland or Virginia?
I'm DC. I'm DC.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yes.
So, Jana,
yes.
For me, have you had any parents to come and really not understand the IEP process? Because as we know, that can be very confusing. I mean, and I know with my daughters, hers is probably like 80 pages. Yeah. And some of it is back and forth. So, have you had any parent that has not really understood the process where you've had to take some time to sit down with them, walk them through the process and help them to understand that process, and tell us what that looks like for you?
Absolutely. Yes. I've had several families come in and just through the years have just kind of been a part of the meeting, but really didn't go into depth. So every time, students come into my classroom, I kind of go through the entire IEP. I know if students have already been in the setting that some case managers may just, go through the logistics of it and not the entire thing. But I do like to go through the entire IEP only because I want parents to be aware that they have a say-so. This document is not just the team of the special ed teacher, the special relative services, or, even the admin of the school. But parents do have a huge say-so in what their children are being serviced with and how much of the service they are receiving. So for my IEP meetings, I usually like to make sure that I start from the first page and kind of walk all the way through. I give the parents a draft prior to the meeting to have them prepared that if they have any questions or if there's a section they don't understand that they would like more clarity on. And as the team, I actually love our special ed team. I just have to put that out there. I know some of them are on. We have the amazing special ed team to where we all collaborate together. We support one another. This has by far been the best support team that I've had in education. And we do collaborate a lot when it comes to students' needs and what we believe that, they should be receiving. They even support in reaching out to parents. So if I can't reach a parent, they would, take the ball and try to reach out to a parent. But it definitely takes the whole entire village, as they say, to, raise a child. And it does. If, we wouldn't have made it this far if we didn't have all the support that we had coming up. And of course, we probably think that we should have had more. But, we made it with the support that we had. And now we are able to give it, to these young minds that are coming up in today's life. So the IEP is definitely something that is a crucial point, a part of the child's education, and it should be looked at to where a special ed teacher is definitely looking at each part of the IEP, especially the goals, because I've received some in the past that the goals did not match where the student was or when they came into my class. And to me, I had to go back and kind of amend, which is just reopen and, tweak it to where it did fit, because I don't like for the parents to be under the oppression that, their child is, doing a certain goal, but they are like maybe 2 or 3 grades way lower. So I always have that conversation with, the families with their students that have come into my program. But if they had already been in my program, then I work with the families to make sure that the goals that I'm setting are definitely those that are reachable.
That is amazing. We've heard so many parents that do not know that they can provide feedback with regards to their students' IEP, and that they can, make some changes and add to it. And the more we talk to parents, the more we learn that they are not being educated. Even in some of the school systems, they are not letting the parents know you have a say so in what we do with your child. And I'm so glad to hear that I know you're doing just everything. So it's not surprising that you are working hand in hand with your parents. I wish that you could like take this and go to certain, to the different schools and train the teachers, like train, what would you call it? Train the trainer? Teachers training teachers, that could be something that would be so amazing that you can do. Go to the different school districts and teach and train our special educators so that they can be just as amazing as you. Because we need more teachers like you.
Yes. And I guess, you're right. When it comes to special ed teachers being able to kind of know what they are getting into. And I think, most of the time, a special ed teacher, the title itself seems like it's something great, to step into, but it really is a journey. I mean, it's a heavy load to carry to be a special ed teacher, because it's not just going into a general educational class and just teaching the subject and then just grading the students and just, saying, okay, well, you didn't meet this mark, and, just give them whatever grade it is. But the special ed teachers and kids who have specific needs, you have to be able to give them a process or steps to be able to reach those goals. We call them benchmarks, to where, they are able to grasp those and then move on. And if they don't, then you keep them there until they are able to reach those goals. But ideally, as a person who, is, I'm not going to say comfortable, but definitely I am when it comes to, kids with special needs, that I am an advocate. I mean, I have been with my parents, even former parents, who I still, assist and support. My number one thing is, when my students leave after 5th grade, I partner with the parent and go with them to the middle school to make sure I'm getting them off to the right people. I don't want, after all of the hard work I have to say that, we have put in as a team to get this student to where they are, and then they just kind of fall apart. So I definitely partner with the parent to say, hey, I want to look into the school for you. I want, to take a tour with you. Let's, do this, and let's connect that with the middle school. And I told them that I'll still do the same when they go to high school. So I just don't want to let it go, because I do believe that as a society, we have, we fail the students and the children a lot in our communities, to where if, they always say it takes one to reach one, or, to just be able to impact somebody, so that they are able to be successful in life. So I'm really, excited about being a part of each one of my students' lives.
That's amazing, because it's like you kind of answered 2 questions I wanted to ask. And one was about, like, when parents, how do you like gain that trust of the parents who already had negative experiences in the school district or another district, and they're trying out and their kid land in your classroom? That was the first question. And then the second question was about, since you have 3rd to 5th grade, that transition, sometimes just, I'm not sure how it is in DC. I live in Michigan, and you have your zone schools, and you might have to transition, but maybe that's not the school that's actually set up to meet that student need. And I was just wondering, like, what play that you have. I mean, you really answered it, but that is it. Like, that's a rock star teacher in my book.
Yeah.
Walking
Thank you.
me to the school, giving me the best program for my kid,
Mhm.
that, and my kid is actually being handed off like almost hand to hand.
Right,
That
right.
is what works for me. But if you could just talk a little bit more
Sure.
about when you get that family, those
Mhm.
parents who have just
Mhm.
had it, before
Yeah.
they get to see Miss Plummer as the teacher, they're just done. Like, this
Yeah.
is, they come with their venting and everything, and
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
they have to get
Mhm.
to know you. Like, how do you build that relationship right there?
So, good question. And to be honest, I've actually had a few that have come into my setting that were like that from another school, or they saw that my program was not for their child. Um, I think my first approach is always kind of having that casual conversation, to have the parent comfortable. And I'm more of a friendly person. So even if a person, is already, like you say, stuck in their mind to where, oh my God, I'm just tired of people lying to me and not, telling me the truth. And I can, honestly let them know that if they need to, I have parents they can talk to prior to them coming to see if they are even comfortable. But even while offering that, I do let them know that I will do my best, to assist your child and to make sure that your child's needs are being met. And we do have what is a 30-day review when we have a new student to come in, that we do an observation and we take notes, and then we meet together to see if this is the right fit for their child. And most of the time, um, the child starts to excel or shows progress, that the parents attitude totally changes, because it's like, I've never seen my child do this. My child used to hate homework. They didn't want to. Now they come home and they're like, I want to do my homework, I got to turn it into Miss Plummer. So I think that it's just, again, having that rapport and having that relationship, and just what's the word I want to use, approaching families in a genuine stance. I don't, go off to, be like, okay, well, your child is in my class, and, try to have an attitude or anything like that. I try to give them, hey, I'm gonna take care of them, treat them as my own. I have parents saying that now. Thank you so much for, loving my child like your own child. I do. My class, they'll tell you, Miss Plummer's our school mom. That's our school mom. So so I do. I really do take them under my wing as if they are my kids at school. And even sometimes when they're at home or after they graduate, they'll call me and just casual talk, Miss Plum, what you doing? So I think just having that relationship with the parent in the beginning, and just kind of being soft about it, but not making it to where they are still antsy or on edge. So if that answers your question. Okay.
What frustrates you? I know it's a lot to go in with the lesson plans and trying to accommodate and support all the different disabilities. What frustrates you?
So what frustrates me, I think, is timelines, being able to meet deadlines. So IEPs annually have a date that you have to meet. And there's a process with, being able to send out the paperwork, being able to complete the IEPs. We have progress reports, and I do report cards. So there's a stack of documentation that has to go into it. And I think not having the time to do that is probably the only thing that really will, and I wouldn't even say frustrates, because like I said, I love what I do. So besides, sometimes the kids may not, they're kids, so there'll be kids every day. And I don't let it get to me to the point to where I'm like, oh, I'm ready to not do this anymore. But it's more of, I know I need to take a step back. I need to take a breather. We have a calming corner. And the kids laughed at me yesterday because I said, I think I need to go to the calming corner. So they were like, Miss Plummer wants to go sit over the little chair. And I said, yeah, I think I need, a break. So they all started pulling me, like, to go sit in the calming corner. But I think that the paperwork and, the timeline is the only thing that kind of gets to a point to where it's like, oh my God, I have to get this done, and be able to make sure I'm in compliance with the state. But lesson plans, I want to say, isn't frustrating. It's more of an excitement thing for me to look to, because I take time to plan out my lesson plans. I actually present a PowerPoint slide on for my students. They do a mindfulness every morning. We start with math and do a fluency, application problems, and then the rotations. We have a break, and then we go into ELA, which is reading and writing. So they start off with a writing prompt. I see, I think, I wonder in their journals. And then we do the unit review. And that's usually a whole group, which is good because I'll read a text and then we'll talk about it. So this week, we just started a new unit this week entitled Rocks and Minerals. And the students are having a blast. Tuesday, we created our pet rocks. So I ordered some rocks for them to decorate, and they have to go home and write in a journal about their day with their pet rock. What did they do? How was their day? What adventures they plan on going. So I try to incorporate fun activities in my class with my students. And on Fridays, we call it Fun Friday. So we usually do like Kahoot or Book It, but it's a review of what has been taught all week. So they are competitive to see who's going to get the most points. But at the same time, it's kind of helping them to remember what was taught throughout the week.
I want to come to your class.
Me too. But I don't want the homework. Cause see, I'm sitting here just imagining that homework coming home for Morgan. Because that would be one of the ones that you got sit in the common corner.
Oh, yeah.
But I
love the common corner. I love that for you.
Me too. I do have a question from one of our listeners. Walking your student and family to the next level teacher, I'm assuming Joyce meant, do you ever receive pushback from the receiving teacher? I guess from the next school, right?
Okay.
Joyce, I'm assuming that's what you mean. Like when it's time, like you're saying you're staying with the parents. And so do you ever get, and I'm assuming most of them are going to different schools, not just like that neighborhood school. So you don't.
That's correct.
Oh, okay. So you kind of have a rapport with that school where you deal with the same teacher if they're there.
Correct. So actually, I have students who have went to different schools, and that's based on either their neighborhood school, or if their neighborhood school doesn't offer an SLS class, then they are given the accommodation to be bused to another school that does offer that. So we do have a feeder school that has the program, but a lot of our students are being bused to our school that's not in that neighborhood. So I take upon myself to see what schools are in their neighborhood, where they live, and if it offers the program that I teach. And if so, then I contact the school. I contact their LEA, which is their special ed representative, and then the special ed teacher, and then let them know that I would like a tour, and then have the parent, and we do a in-person meet, and then we schedule, when the student can go see the school. And I've done this for the past 2 years. Yep.
Girl,
God bless you. God bless you.
You know what I'm thinking for real? The thing that I think of with you, Jana, is that you get me used to greatness. And then you're not going to stay here. And I guess that's the hardest part. And I mean, you deserve to excel just like everybody else.
Yeah, that's true.
But what are your future plans? Because I just don't see you staying in this position. And I feel bad because somebody coming behind you, they have humongous shoes to fill. I'm serious.
You need to be an instructor.
Has been working with you, and then you have to leave. Oh my gosh. See, I'd be one of the ones like wherever she's going,
I want my child to go.
Yeah. So what are your future plans as far as and Jillian Hers, I love the way that she said it, and you have to do this. You're passionate about this, and it does show. It does. Yeah. This is wonderful. This is wonderful. I've never seen this. In all the years that Morgan has been in school, I promise you, I have never seen this.
Wow. Yeah.
I've never seen
it.
I might have moved to DC to get you. I might have done.
I think that's what needs to happen. We've got to move to DC and make sure that our children are accepted at Jana's school. That's the problem.
There you go.
In her program.
There you go.
But what are your future aspirations? Yeah, because I'm not even gonna lie, Jana. I really feel like you can have a nonprofit that
Mhm.
goes around and teaches
Teachers,
parents.
absolutely,
I mean, teaching
absolutely.
parents as
Teachers
well as
and the
teaching
teachers.
the teachers, because a lot of teachers are not equipped. Like how they
Right.
came to you and they asked you, and you were
Mhm.
like, okay. A lot of people have agreed to it, but they really didn't want to do it. And they
Right.
just like, yeah, I'll do it. Just, I'll
Right.
go in there because that's what they told me I have to do. And it shows.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying I don't want to take you out of the school. I don't, but I do see you going higher with this.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I to answer your question, where my future, I have a future plan and it does incorporate in special ed still, education. And I think I'm only one person, but I would love to, build a team that has the same passion that I have and want to be able to, connect those bridges um with the school, where it comes to um being able to trust, where your child is and where they're going. Um, and you mentioned, me not staying where I am. And to be honest, I've actually thought that even when it gets to my retirement time, how would I even do it? Because the third graders, if I leave, they would have to get a new teacher for fourth and fifth grade. So it's almost like I can't ever pull myself away because those kids that have just started having me would look forward to having me for the next 2 years. So at some point, I know that God is gonna plant me somewhere else, and I'm just always ready for the call, whatever the case may be. But as long as I have that impact, on families and on children, wherever I may go. Of course, in the community as a whole is what I try to do too. There's one student in my class. He has siblings in the school, and literally, I wish I had a camera. They are not even in my class, but every time they see me in the hall, they dart down the hall and just come running, and I have to get down because they're little, and I embrace them, but. It just shows that I really do love the children and the students in our community, and definitely the ones who are in self-contained or who have an IEP. I just have a heart to make sure that they really get what they deserve, and that is equality. Being able to be treated fairly. And a lot of them aren't going to be able to eventually come up to be a well-functioning adult to where they can be on their own or where they can move around, but you have to have people like-minded like myself to be able to carry on that as they get older and move out of the house, or even with their families have someone to come in to support that is truthful, that is honest, that's going to be there and not really take advantage of them, because we've seen too many cases to where students are being, because they are in special ed, they think that, oh, I can treat them however I want, but as they say, karma comes back. But of course, biblically, we know, you reap what you sow.
Yes.
So, if that's the case, then I definitely want to sow love, sow care, sow kindness, to where families and, the children are beginning to see that, I am somebody. My students,
Yeah.
we do a positive affirmation every morning. They repeat after me, and it's on the board. I am somebody. I am smart. I am loved. I am special. I believe in myself. So we do it every morning.
That
I make
melts my
sure that,
heart. Oh my
yeah,
gosh,
our
you were
kids know.
bringing me to tears. I'm not even kidding, because I think for Morgan's birthday some years ago, I had a slogan that said Morgan matters. And I think sometimes, just like you just said, it's so many times, and I can say this with her being in school, people have written her off. And I was
Mm,
just telling somebody else the other day, I said, I'm not even gonna lie. I said, when I had her, I didn't, like you said, we were raised that
yeah,
we weren't really around special education.
correct,
And then in my age
correct.
group, we definitely didn't see them. They were tucked away. So I
Hmm.
think we were almost taught that when, and my daughter has multiple disabilities. When they have multiple disabilities like that, it's almost like you just make them comfortable. They don't
Yes.
learn anything. And
Hmm.
she had to teach me that she could learn.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so with that mindset, I had to tell others, because the first thing when people will say is, does she go to school? I said, she does. She goes to
Hmm.
school. And I don't take that wrong, because again, it was almost instilled in us that they
Right.
were not capable of learning.
Right.
So you saying that, it just melts my heart, because they do matter. They do.
Yeah.
They are special. They are important. They can learn. They are loved. And I'm not going to take up all the time, but I just wanted you to see. I wanted you to see this comment, because this is just what our subject is about, the parent-teacher relationship. And this right here, you've seen so many of the comments that I'm putting up here. I flash them really quickly because you're doing such an awesome job, Jana.
Yeah,
you are.
Thank you. Yeah, I do take it to heart to, make sure that, like I said, that communication is it has to be a strong one. You can't, just kind of dip in and dip out. It has to be one that is able to continue on. And of course, a lot of teachers or educators do not go past once the student has left their, grade or, their setting. They just kind of let it be, because so many other kids are going to come and go, but I'm thankful that I have a small group that I'm able to still, keep in contact with my former students. I just spoke to one of the parents tonight just to check in to see, how her daughter was doing in middle school. And, she said, absolutely great. She was like, thank you so much for all that you have done, because she's able to actually, continue on, in the school system. So
I think that's awesome. I love that the relationships that we're talking about right now with educators, especially in special education, and parents, having kids that have IEPs. And to me, I've had amazing teachers, and I feel like a teacher like you, Jana, if I have a teacher that's amazing, now I compare every teacher to that. So it's like you're a rock star. And so when I get another teacher, now the bar has been raised, and I'm expecting you to level up, and I won't accept any less. And so by you being in those children's lives in the elementary setting, 3rd through 5th grade, it like sets the bars for parents as their kid moves on. And so that is, I agree with you, that communication. My last kid will graduate in 2030. And so that communication in the district is like, if someone says, oh, Miss Francis, oh, I know her, that's because I get to know every teacher. I have your emails, I have your phone numbers, and I feel like I keep that communication open. I think in the past, we might think if you have a kid that gets all A's, you don't really need to have a parent-teacher conference, because that kid's passing. But I'm that different teacher. I'm in a different district. I'm in a predominantly white district in Michigan. And so I already feel like I'm in a space where we're not already showing up.
Correct.
Parents, people of color, we're already not showing up. And then we're showing up not always in the best light. That's why I'm definitely someone that's very present. But when I have those communications with them, with these teachers, I feel like you have my kid the majority of the day. When I get my kid, they're coming home, we're winding down the day, it's dinner, it's bedtime. So an A just may mean that my kid, they pass the assessments, they can do well. But I feel like you get to tell me about my kid's mental wellness. You get to tell me if my kid is participating. You get to tell me if my kid is being a class clown. You get to tell me stuff that I don't get to see. And so, because I go to parent-teacher conferences and they're like, why are you here? Like, what's your issue? And that's because I do have a kid in gen ed with an IEP. So I have a kid we have self-contained classrooms too, Bunny, and ours are listed differently, like a CI for cognitive impairment, maybe an EI classroom for emotional impairment, and then they have ASD classes for autism spectrum. And so I'm just letting you know, like, we do have self-contained class, but what's also important is inclusion. Are they being included in the gen ed curriculum? They should have that access. And so, I have learned, and I will say this, Jana, I know you are that teacher, because when I'm a new parent and you're coming into this and you go into IEPs and you have all that jargon and stuff, you just feel like, oh my gosh, I'm clueless. I don't even know what they're talking about. But I had a teacher when I moved to Michigan And I just was quiet in those IEPs. And she pulled me to the side and was like, Crystal, I just need you to be a mama bear. I need you to speak up. I need this, that, and the other. And she started telling me what to do. And then she would say, and if you ever tell somebody I told you, I'll deny it. And I was just like, okay, and it's just like, but it was a teacher.
Yeah.
That helped me advocate for my kid until I could start roaring myself. And I thank God that she saw in me. I didn't always know the questions to ask.
Yep.
I didn't. When I came, they were like, "Oh, she needs assistive technology." I was like, "Well, what's that?" Like assistive technology. Like she was like, "Yes, what do you need to know? Let's go." She went through and simplified it. And then I'm hearing you, Jana. I had there. You're dealing with parents that have other issues on the home front that they may not know how to handle. And I brought that to a teacher when my kid was in elementary. Like, I'm not sure how to handle this. I'm nervous. How do you handle this with your students? She came to my house on a Saturday to talk with me about my kid. About, you know what I mean? So then to me, that sets the bar. And you are that teacher, Jana. You are that teacher that your kids are still keeping in touch with you. Their parents are. You are making such a great impact in their lives, and I'm pretty sure your staff, because I'm an advocate for support staff too.
Yes,
I'll be writing to my board of education, like I need y'all to pay them more.
Right, exactly.
Support staff help, those parapros, those teacher assistants, they help with that collection of data and everything. And so I give kudos to the support staff, to everyone who helps, because I know that is what helps a partnership for a teacher. And so I want to commend you. And I know that your parents have a great appreciation for you, because I do, and you're not even my kid's teacher.
Thank you.
I would too. I appreciate you.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Jillian Harris wrote this, and I know, I do know that she's your family, but I love the fact that she wrote this because I see that you have not only performed in the school, but you're extending your hand outside the school to help others learn. And this is great. I'm like, oh my God, Jana, I can see you being a consultant, like and I ain't trying to take you out to school. I'm really not. But we need advocates. We do need advocates, parent advocates that don't mind sitting down, going through them IEPs, because like you said, it's only one of you. But there's some parents that they get those IEPs. And like I told you, with my daughters, her pages are long, and when they first gave me that, I was like, I don't know what this thing is. I mean, and no one even told me like they had the parent section where you could put your concerns. I mean, I was just given this document, and like Crystal, I was like, oh, okay. They were like, oh, Morgan is great, and I'm like, oh, that's great. But here I am, just as dumbfounded, like, oh yeah, they just trying to push her through. They have really stamped her as somebody that cannot accomplish anything, and you're not knowing that. So we need. I'm telling you, Jana, I do see you on a bigger platform. I do, because we need you. I know you're just one person in the school, but we need you in this whole situation. We need you, because a lot of parents are just going through. And we can't have you at every school, but we need you at every school.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We do. Have you ever had a student with a goal that was unobtainable and you had to kind of fight that fight?
Yes. And I want to say that this was years ago. This was a student who, that was actually, he was just kind of put into my class without me knowing any background, any paperwork, or anything. The student could not talk. He did not have a technology device to, speak for him. He came into the classroom, he just made noise. And I had him, kind of sat down, and I started talking to him, and he could understand what I was saying, but he wasn't able to respond. So I gave him some, some toys or manipulatives to, kind of just sit with so it could calm him. Other students came over and tried to, talk to him, but of course, the communication wasn't there. But the students were very receptive. They kind of, made him feel included. I want to say within 2 or 3 weeks, he started saying hi to the students. His mom was actually in tears when she saw him. She said because he's never said a word, and for him to literally just articulate hi, she said was a step. And I'm not a speech pathologist at all, but I'm one that tries to do all I can to introduce students to any type of technique that will get them out of their comfort zone or move them along so that they have that confidence. I have students now who even reading, they don't have confidence within themselves. So I'll take it, steps to where it's, letters, sounds, then blending. And I try to make a fun game out of it. I just purchased it's a Leapfrog where it has the sight words is a for the, just certain basic ones, but they are able to repeat that game over until they actually know their words. But they stamp it with the frog and they try to get as many of the flies with the frog as possible. So the kids have been enjoying that game in our classroom. But yes, having that student who wasn't able to articulate and just say hi was a milestone within itself. He didn't stay with me long because that was not his setting, obviously. He should have been placed somewhere where he could get more support. But, just by him having that little bit of progress with being, in my class for maybe, I think 2 to 3 weeks. And then he moved on to a better fitting program. And I actually told mom to look into it. I told her this wasn't his setting. And I would love to help, but I had other students. At that time, it was like maybe 15 students. So it wouldn't do him a good justice to, have that one-on-one and have that support that he needed. So she did put him into a school that would support him better.
Well, that's great. I was going to ask you about your students, if they were all verbal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And another thing with your parents, do you set expectations for them in the beginning when you meet them? Some of us parents, we need an IEP as well.
I would say that yes, I do have expectations. So I set the precedent in my class with if your students do what is required, then there are rewards. Throughout the school year, I may change up what the rewards are. I just recently adapted at the beginning of this year after the winter break, that if my students are on their best behavior, they're participating in class, they are being nice to their peers, turning in their homework, that they have lunch with Miss Plummer. So they receive a coupon that has me, it's AI, of course, but eating a corn and a cob. And they get excited because I take their picture and then I send it to their parent and say, yay, congratulations, your child has, been selected to have lunch with me this coming Friday. My treat, whatever they want. And I have had 4 students now to have lunch with me on a Friday. And we have ordered from Chipotle, McDonald's, Wendy's.
That's amazing.
So whatever they want. But the incentive and the goal is to show the parents and the families that your child is capable. They are able to, do what is expected. And as a parent, you are able to put these into place, so we don't have to coddle them because they have an IEP or because you think that they can't, meet that goal, but give them the expectations that you would any other child, so that they can see that they aren't different, because students and children can actually be manipulative, very manipulative, that if they start to see that, oh, well, I have this, so you're going to do this. And some parents do feed into that. But I want to encourage parents, don't. Just go ahead and keep doing what you're doing. And trust me, if you work with your teacher, your child's teacher, your child will come out beyond what you ever expected.
This is amazing. Oh my goodness. We need you in all of these schools. I mean, just walk up and down the hallways, just stand at the door, just
I wish. I would love to give to all. I wish. Yeah.
I just thank God because it seems like he's blessed you with that gift. That's a special gift. It's more than just passion.
Right.
It's a gift that God has given you to be able to work with a great team, because it
Mm-hmm.
takes more than just you, but to work with a great team, to have great paraprofessionals to help you out.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Yes.
really great. So in your classroom with your students, you just have the one para?
Yes.
Okay.
So our district, I believe our cap for me to have students is 12. So this year I have 9, and actually every year it's grown. So I believe next year I'll probably reach my max, which is fine because I am able to structure my class for the appropriate needs that the students come in. So I don't have a photo of my classroom, but I have resources literally all in my classroom. So my students have learned how to use what is at their disposal in order to finish their work or in order to engage in communications with their peers. So my classroom, if you were to come in, you wouldn't think that it was a special ed classroom because it's set up literally like any other classroom. So I give them that same um, experience that they would in a gen ed.
Wow. When I just tell
Yeah.
y'all, this has been so awesome. Oh my gosh, Jana, you are doing such a great job. I know we're
Thank you.
coming
Thank
to the
you.
close, but I just want to just commend you and just applaud you,
I
because
appreciate
I
it.
think you are doing such a great job. I just sit here just listening to you and I wish that Morgan had this. But
I know.
I will say that, every God put you where you needed to be. He did.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I think at this point now, you are giving, and this is what advocacy is about, you are giving us hope.
Yes.
Because I think, again, Morgan's 21, and I think that there's more attention being put on us and society overall to understand the
Mhm.
needs of these special needs individuals. And I keep saying it's not just autism,
Right.
it's so
Exactly.
many it's so many different
Mhm.
needs. And I'm gonna tell you this, and I know even in my age group there were a lot of us that were taught differently, that
Mhm.
should have been taught differently, but there was one
Mhm.
style of teaching. And then there's a lot of adults that did not get what they needed and that were pushed into adulthood. So I
Right.
think as time goes on, I thank God that it's this special needs, this box is getting
Mhm.
bigger, and the
Yes.
ideas, people are thinking outside the box. And I think, as time goes on, the only thing that I could do is be hopeful
Mhm.
that advocacy as well as the community is just doing their job to make
Right.
sure that
Right.
we are bringing attention to the needs of these individuals. We
Absolutely.
have to address these individuals. We can't make them think that if they don't learn like everybody else, that they are dumb, they're not important,
Yeah.
they're not
Exactly.
teachable. That's not what life is about. So I
Right.
think, again, starting, this is my goal. This is why advocacy was started, because say is emphasized, because I want
Mhm.
everybody to
Yes.
understand that even though Morgan is nonverbal, she still has something to say. And
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
just know she has
Correct.
something to say. She has the right to say, I don't want to do this, or I want to do this, or I don't want to go there. Oh yeah, I want to go there. So
Mhm.
I just thank you. I thank you because I mean, and I've known you for years, Jana. I
Yeah.
was sitting here thinking about you directing the little kids choir. I mean, and the kids will all be turning around looking at each other. But Jana was such an inspiration to those younger kids at a young age. So God was using you way back then.
Oh yeah, for
And he
sure.
didn't even, I mean, I'm sure it's blown your mind how far you've gone with the gift that he's given you. So
Absolutely.
that's just my closing remarks. Jana, thank you for joining us. I
Yes.
see
Thank
you
you.
going higher. I see you being in different
Keep me in
places,
prayer.
and
Thank
we
you.
need that. We need that.
Yes,
I
thank you.
applaud
I
you.
appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me tonight. And I hope that, something I've said has, impacted those that are listening that, didn't understand or felt, that they couldn't do it. I just say bridge that gap to where, teachers and parents are on one accord. Take the time, to get to know the student, the child, so that you aren't feeling frustrated because together we can do this.
Crystal or Bunny, I know y'all have closing remarks, and then we'll close
Oh,
out.
Oh yeah. Well, I just want to reiterate, Jane is a rock star.
Thanks.
And I mean, that's what I call my teachers that,
Oh.
and I just hold other teachers to that level.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, I didn't want to be that parent, but I might be
Yeah.
that parent of like, I think my kids need to change classes. It's not working
Mhm. Mhm.
for us. Because if it's
Yes.
not working for
Yes.
my kid, it's not working for me. And I
Mhm.
feel like that's who you are. That's how God made you. I thank
Mhm.
God for you. And I'm sitting in appreciation for the families that have you as
Mhm.
their children's teacher. I know they appreciate you, and their kid has more opportunities moving forward because they were under your care for an amount of time. And I
Yeah.
know how you feel as a teacher, that consistency and
Mhm.
stability of third through fifth grade is such a critical time, and
Yes.
it's right
Yes.
before middle school or junior high. And so I really, really, really just enjoyed you tonight, and I just know that you will continue to flourish. I know that, I
Thank
can
you.
see that. And no matter how where you go and what you do, I just know you will. But I just think that this was amazing. And I love how
Thanks.
you have gained parents' trust, because I know that's
Mhm.
important, and the
Yes.
children's trust. Oh yeah.
Correct.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, along with you being a rock star, you are GOAT
Come on.
as well. Greatest of all teachers. Like, you own that. What did
Oh,
they
thank
say?
you.
Clock it,
Yeah.
or whatever that is. Jana, this has been amazing just talking with you. My grandson is autistic, and he has a great team as well at his
Good.
school, and he's getting the support and services that he needs. But
Perfect.
that's not all students, and it
Mhm.
just really warms my heart to know that there are special educators out there that are going that extra mile,
Yes.
and that you're going above and beyond to make sure that not only your students are being understood and cared for and educated, but you're doing the same thing for parents, because
Yes.
it's not too many educators out there that's going to take the time
That's right.
to build a relationship with your students' parents. So this has just been amazing. It's been a breath of fresh air to know that
Mm.
there are educators out there that actually do care, actually are just not going into the school system looking for the small paycheck, but they
Mhm.
actually
Mhm.
care.
Yeah.
Underpaid and just still going above and beyond. So thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank God for all the students that will cross over into your classroom, that you
Mhm.
will continue to do great things and greater things. So you are the GOAT, the greatest of all teachers.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, so again, guys, we appreciate Jana for joining us. We hope that this was informative for parents. Jana, if we did have a parent that needed help with IEPs, how could they reach out to you?
They can.
Okay.
I do have on my Facebook, I have opened up a platform on school.com, which is understanding IEPs. And
Mm,
I can be reached on Facebook, and, DM is my name, Jana Plummer. And then I can give you more information on that. So I do
okay.
offer services outside of what I do for those who are, looking to um, learn more or be more knowledgeable for IEPs, and even with being able to bridge that gap. So I'm not afraid to go with the parent to an IEP meeting. As my cousin Jillian said, I've assisted with her in her son's beginning walk with getting some support. So I don't have a problem with that. You can contact me. I'm open. I do always have a hectic schedule, but I try to find time because, like I said, I advocate for when it comes to students with special needs or IEPs.
That's good to know. That's good to
Yes.
know. Advocacy may
Yes.
be calling on you sometimes.
Okay.
So
No problem. Call
yeah,
me.
we got to talk a little later. We definitely have to talk
Okay.
later. Yes,
No
but I
problem.
thank everybody for joining us. And again, all of those positive comments and everything, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We will meet back here again next Thursday. We have another subject on the table, and we are excited to again bring you another episode of Advocacy. So for those that are, hopefully we don't get no snow this weekend, but anyway, we just hope you guys, we're sick of snow. So we hope you guys enjoyed our session, and we will see you next Thursday. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.